Everybody, and welcome to the A.C.E Football Academy. I'm Charlie Hamilton. This is Chris Dunham, and we are back for our second week of the World Soccer Roundup. Had a lot of fun last week. Real quick episodes here where we're just kind of outlining the weekend's upcoming games. We try to pick big games from each league, give the betting odds, get some betting backgrounds for it. We're going to pick a few and have a little fun with. Last week we picked. We started off big. We picked 8 games. We won't do as many each week, but we wanted to kind of start off, have a little fun. Dunham went 4-4 on the weekend. I have a 1-game lead. I went 5-3 on the weekend. So a lot of fun doing that. Again, I hope you guys are playing along. Please add your picks into our comment section when we post the video. Let us know what you think. So, Coach, what do we got this weekend?
Yeah, not a lot of huge games this weekend, but we're going to start off in La Liga. Again, you can watch them on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Go ahead and get that package deal you can get with them. The big game this week is Villarreal, who is 6th on the table, versus Real Betis, who is 5th on the table. What's our betting odds here?
So Villarreal is a half-goal favorite with an over-under of 2.5 there.
Excellent. So we're going to move on to Bundesliga. Catch them on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I did not see them on Hulu, but I wouldn't be surprised if you catch them on Hulu as well. I'm sure that's with that package as well. But in Bundesliga this weekend, RB Leipzig, which is 4th on the table. Coach, why don't you give us a try on this Borussia team? Give me a shot.
I knew you were going to say that. All right. It is Borussia Mönchengladbach.
That was horrible. Borussia Mönchengladbach.
I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I saw that name, and I looked at him, and I said, please don't make me try to pronounce that. I know that is so bad of me, but I apologize.
You just triggered it. It's all good. Anyway, Borussia Mönchengladbach, 10th on the table. What's our betting odds here?
Leipzig is a 1-goal favorite with an over-under of 3.
All right, and moving on to Serie A. Catch them on CBS Sports or Paramount Plus. First game, this one is probably one of the bigger games this weekend. We got Napoli, who is number 1 on the table, versus Atalanta, who is 6th on the table. What's our betting odds here?
Yeah, so Napoli is a half-goal favorite, which I'm a little surprised on. We'll get to that in just a second. And then the over-under is 2.5 as well there. Napoli had their first home defeat last weekend. First time this season they've been beaten at home. They're back home this weekend. So I think they bounce back pretty smoothly, pretty easily. Atalanta, they can't score. They have scored 1 goal since January.
Yikes.
I'm sorry, excuse me. They've scored, can't obtain points. They have 1 point in their last 3. With Atalanta, with Napoli only Napoli is the team that has only given up a goal since January. So, and that happened last week.
Okay.
So I'm going with Napoli here.
I'm going to go with the draw here.
Okay.
Freakish things happen every weekend. I agree. Napoli is the better team here, but I'm going to go with the draw.
Awesome.
Our second game in Serie A is Lazio, who is 3rd on the table, and Bologna, who is 7th on the table. What's our odds here?
Yeah, this is a pick 'em. So go with what your gut tells you and make that pick with an over-under of 2.
Excellent. So moving on to English Premier League, catch them on NBC Networks, USA, or streaming on Peacock. The surprise team here is Fulham, who was number 7 on the table, versus Arsenal, number 1. This is going to be an interesting game here.
It will. Arsenal, you and I were kind of texting a little bit last weekend during the Arsenal game. We both picked them as kind of landslide winners last week. And in the 64th minute last weekend, they were down 0-2. It took a 97th minute goal for them to squeak by with a 3-2 win. And I get crazy things happen, but they just looked out of sync all game long. They had some decent opportunities. Of course, they maintained possession, they held possession, things like that, but they just looked out of sync all weekend long. Two fun stats here that feed into this game nicely. Arsenal leads the EPL with 5 goals to win games in the 90th minute or later this season. So, 5 of their wins this season have been squeakers that they have claimed, towards the end of full time. And then with Fulham is in their last 18 matches against teams who start the day in the top 2 position. They are 2-16. So they really struggle against top competition. So I am going to take Arsenal here.
Yeah, and Arsenal did what we expected them to do last week. They scored 3 goals. We mentioned maybe 3 or 4 goals, and they did just that. So I agree. I'm going Arsenal here. I think this is a comfortable win. I'll say at least 2-0. Arsenal's clearly the favorite.
Awesome.
Okay, moving on to MLS. Catch them on Apple TV. Again, you can buy their season pass here as well. First game up, LAFC, who is 1-0. Their second game was actually postponed.
Yes.
And New England Revolution, who was 2-0. What's our betting odds here?
The betting odds there are LAFC is a 1-goal favorite with an over-under of 3. So I'm kind of expecting some goals there in that matchup. I'm going to give another shout out here to Apple. Second week in a row that I've been able to enjoy the MLS season pass. For like a lot of us, I was in Lexington on Saturday with absolutely no power after the windstorms that went through our state, and pulled it up on my phone, and there it was, popped right up, and I sat on the couch and watched it on my phone. So doing a really nice job with that MLS season pass. I highly recommend it. Who are you going in with in this game?
This is tough. LAFC is a powerhouse, but New England Revolution, they're winning, they're scoring goals. I still feel LAFC is the team to beat here. They're champions.
They are.
And I think they're going to continue through the playoffs, so I got LAFC in this one.
I'm going to take the New England Revolution.
Okay.
I don't know. I think early season, I look for an upset here.
Okay. We'll see how that rolls out. Next game up, one of our favorites again, FC Cincinnati versus Seattle. FCC is 1-1, and Seattle is 2-0. What's our betting odds here?
The betting odds in that one is FCC is a surprising to me. I believe it is in Cincinnati. I believe they are the home team. So FCC is a half-goal favorite with an over-under of 2.5. I mentioned FC Cincinnati being at home. I think that may lead a little bit into that half-goal favorite. But as we were looking up this game, doing a little research on it, I didn't realize this. I guess it doesn't surprise me now that I've heard it, now that I've read it, but I didn't realize this. Last season, FC Cincinnati had the 8th worst record in the league at home. With they had 6 wins, 6 draws, and 5 losses. And Seattle's looked good this year. They're 2-0. They've won their games with a combined 6-0 score. Cincinnati is all of a sudden having trouble scoring. They really dominated the game last weekend, had trouble scoring. So I'm going to let you pick first on this.
Yeah, I'm still going with FC Cincinnati for the sole reason that they controlled the game and had numerous scoring opportunities. So even though they didn't score, the chances are being created. And like I said when we started this, they're in a new formation. Brenner wasn't necessarily starting, and they got Santos coming in. I think they're still working out some issues on timing runs, but I'm going to FCC in this game.
I gave you the chance to be the bad guy and take Seattle, so I could be the good guy and take FC Cincinnati. I'm going to take Seattle. I think early on, with all those things that you mentioned, with the lineup issues that they're kind of, or not issues isn't the right word, but the lineup things that they're dealing with, the formation things that they're dealing with, I think Seattle is going to be a little too much this weekend.
Yeah, Seattle is definitely one of the top-notch teams. I don't think that's a team you're going to look past. I expect a close game.
Yeah.
And a lot of chances on both ends. So it's going to be about who can defend well here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next game up, New York City FC, who is 0-1-1,
Yeah.
which is a little bit surprising, and Inter Miami, who is 2-0. What's our betting odds here?
Yeah, so the betting odds in that one are NYCFC is actually a half-goal favorite with an over-under of 2.5 goals. You know, Inter Miami, I think I'm going to look back at my notes real quick. I think that is a game, we both missed last week. We both had Philadelphia winning that game.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Philadelphia is 0-2 now.
They are 0-2. And Inter Miami kind of dominated that game.
Yeah.
I think they ended up winning 2-0, I think was the final.
Yeah.
But, Inter Miami seems to have something going here, have something clicking here. It is their first road game. First time they're going on the road this season, going up to New York City. I don't know what the weather is supposed to be like up there. It's kind of cold around where we are. I am going to I'm going to switch this from what I have written down. I'm going to take NYCFC getting their first win of the season.
I'm going to take a draw here with it being Inter Miami's first road game. I see some hiccups going on here. Mm-hmm. So I'm calling a draw, tight game, 1-1, 2-2, something around there. But I'm going to take the draw on this one.
Awesome.
All right, well, that's our roundup for leagues. We want to mention we have not forgotten the women's leagues.
Correct.
NWSL does not begin until March 25th. So once they kick off, we will be covering some of their games as well. We do look forward to highlighting the women's games, especially with the Women's World Cup coming up here in the next few months. July, or is it August? July. So look forward to that. And
I will mention the women's thing real quickly. I guess a history-made thing that happened recently. The Washington Spirit, I'm going to check my notes. I know this is pretty unprofessional, but I think this is worth noting. The Chicago Spirit, I apologize. The Chicago Spirit have signed the youngest player in NWSL history. They've signed a 15-year-old Chloe Ricketts to a 3-year deal, and she's going to be a part of their club this season. So something to look forward to. That'd
be fun to put a check mark next to watching her play, see if she makes her way through the national team, which seems to be an easy decision to make there.
Absolutely.
You can watch NWSL on CBS Sports or Paramount Plus, so we'll make sure to follow them.
Definitely.
Last but not least, we know Champions League is going on, and we will start following them in the quarterfinals when that begins in mid-April, which the first week will be April 11th and 12th, and watch those legs as well. But another great roundup here. I look forward to some good games. Is there one game here that you really like? I'm making sure I'm watching that one.
Outside of the FC Cincinnati game as a fan, although I do think that has potential to be a really fun game. I think it's a good early test for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But I am interested in this NYCFC game and Inter Miami game. Is Inter Miami for real?
Yep.
Is NYCFC really as poor as they've seen just come out of the gate? So what about you?
I'm going with FC Cincinnati Seattle. Seattle is a perennial team to watch for. FCC last year started making a name for themselves. Are they going to continue that? And this is a matchup we're going to find out. This is going to be two very offensive teams who can work the ball through the midfield, find scoring opportunities. I would love to see a high-scoring game here.
So that was going to be my question. The over-under is 2.5 goals. You taking the over?
I'm taking the over on this one. Absolutely.
What if I set the over-under at 3.5 goals? Are you still taking the over?
I'd like to see 4 goals altogether in this game. So I'll take the over on that. Like I said, these are two offensive-minded teams that we know that they can score. We know absolutely that they can create opportunities. So I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, and that's my thing. We know that they can create opportunities.
Yeah.
FC Cincinnati struggled to find the back of the net last weekend, and so I know it's early.
But they got the ball in the box numerous times.
They did.
And the timing just
was off.
I mean, just off.
Yeah, it was.
And so hopefully they clear that up this week.
All right, awesome. A lot of fun. Another quick episode. We'll be back next week with our third edition of the World Soccer Roundup. We appreciate you for listening in. This has been the ACE Football Academy.